Welcome again, and thank you for joining us once more on We Connect. Sri Lanka recently celebrated the 63rd anniversary of its independence, and who better to tell us what business there is all about than my guest today. He's Somit Hazari. He's a board member of the India ASEAN Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and he wears many other hats as well, but that we'll discover as we go along. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Hazari.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Now, Sri Lanka, you've been involved in business there for a long time. Does it augur well now for Indian businessmen?
I would say it has always augured well.
Really?
And actually what I mean by this is, if you just look at the trade figures, India has now achieved, in the past 3 years, the number one supplier to Sri Lanka, overtaking large countries like Japan. And the latest trade figures of USD 1.7 billion
That's a lot.
of exports that India has exported up to 2009 shows the market of Sri Lanka has well received our goods, and our goods and services are very well respected. Sri Lanka has also increased their exports, and unfortunately we don't have the 2010 figures. Their trade has also increased to about $325 million.
Right, but when you give me these staggering figures of what we actually send to Sri Lanka, what are the primary things or the primary articles or are we sending services to Sri Lanka? What exactly can you pinpoint for me?
Yes, I would say that if you look at Indian exports, yes, a large portion of these exports is oil. As you know, Indian Oil there has been very active. And I think they established there soon after 2000 or 2002 was really when IOC, entrenched themselves into Sri Lanka. But if you take a look at the Sri Lankan market, you'll find a lot of Indian goods, be it vehicles, but here if you see vehicles, Indian motorcycles are in much greater numbers than Indian cars. Trucks, buses, yes. The Indian automotive industry is very strong there. The garment side, the fabric was much larger, but thanks to China and the fact that China has been much more competitive. But if you look at most of the consumer goods, even a lot of the industrial goods, and these are areas where even the machineries, most of them, they prefer to get from India, not only because of it being a cost advantage, the serviceability and maintenance, and of course, the overall package that they offer.
But how much of a competition or how much of a threat is China to Indian business in Sri Lanka?
China is a growing threat, no doubt. I know that when we use the word China, especially when we speak about Sri Lanka, there is this bogey that is created. India is playing the China bogey game, yes. The port of Hambantota was there to start with. And, but please, I would just like to emphasize that the contract went to China after India turned it down not once but twice.
So are you trying to say here then that we actually deserve that?
Well, you can use a harsh word like that, but if we were so bothered, like the same what has happened at Chittagong, the contract there has also gone to the Chinese. But since we seem to be speaking a little on China also, let me just digress for a moment.
Please, go ahead.
And say that if we are so concerned about the Chinese getting into main infrastructural industries, then how come we have invited the Chinese here to play a crucial role in our infrastructure, in our, say, telecom industry, our phones, for example. Even if you look at Bombay, where I'm originally from, there have been reports that have said that the local train, now the contract has gone to a Chinese company, which will of course be able to manufacture and supply some very good high-tech train bogies. But this kind of order has never been done by them before. The point I'm making is, yes, this is actually cost-effective for us. But when we see China in the neighborhood, and here when we're talking about Sri Lanka, everybody seems to get a little hyper, if I may use that word.
That's a strong word too.
Yes, Well, I would say Hambantota definitely has its advantages. Please, it is on the international sea lane. The motherships do not call on any major South Indian port as of now. We in HE Chennai rely on what we call feeder vessels that either come in from Colombo or from Singapore. So I would look at it not as you win or I win, but as a win-win situation. Because if we are to look at any long-term actually relationship, then it's only a win-win situation that would actually take us there.
Right. Now, in my introduction, I was saying that it is the 63rd anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. Now, has this in fact made a great difference to you as a businessman who goes in and out of Sri Lanka, who has business there, who has business here? What difference has the end of the war made to you?
I would see a lot of increase in business. And the potential of increased business.
Really?
To actually substantiate this, the North and the East, mainly for the reasons of the war, were areas where there was not much, and in certain areas, nothing reaching. Everything naturally had to come via Colombo, and most of the trade that took place in the northern parts, which was under the LTTE, was a trade that was what you would say grey market, others will call smuggling, etc. Now, all this meant that the landed cost of basics there was sky high. And there was no infrastructural projects over there. Their lands have been very fertile, but haven't been used. And Sri Lanka is only now realizing, of course, of late the heavy rains there has been bad news, because the North and the East has been affected. But they have very fertile lands. And I see a lot of investment pouring in, not only from India, but from other countries as well. We should also keep in mind that there is a huge diaspora of Tamil people, of Sri Lankan Tamils rather, all over the world. Now, everybody likes to build a small house or have a place in their own hometown or from where they come from. With the economies in the West not doing that great, people are looking at Sri Lanka. The other point is, even during the war years, the worst years as people call them, though property prices had come down a little, there was no real crash. So this goes to show and proves the point that land in Sri Lanka has been a very good investment.
Right, but the next logical question has to be, is Sri Lanka safe? Is it safe? Is it secure? Is there any kind of violence? Are there any sort of the kind of things we associate with Sri Lanka for so many years? Is it safe for an Indian businessman to go in there, start business? What happens? I mean, tell me the truth. You go in and out, please.
I will tell you this. To answer you straight away,
please.
Yes, it is safe. Two, why am I saying this?
Yeah.
I have been in and out. I am a nocturnal bird at times, and you know, Sri Lanka offers excellent avenues to entertain and to go out. So earlier, yes, one was getting a bit disturbed when you see
security all
with
over?
machine guns, and but I would say one thing: you have to understand the situation there. And what we have to even learn from them is, they are so polite when they ask you for your identification card. And the moment they see an Indian passport, there's an automatic respect, there's an automatic acknowledgement.
Right.
Yes.
Soumi, I'm going to ask you to hang on, because I'm going to come back and talk to you more about the current situation in Sri Lanka. It's time for us, we'll go away just for a very short while and get right back with you here on WeConnect.